the more success that you have, the more you look at this simple phrase of millionaires don't ask, can I do it? They ask, who can do it? And if someone can do it 80% as well as you outsource it. Die with memories, not dreams.
Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira Kucaba, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, Moira Kucaba, and I've got my friend Rob Sperry in the house today. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thanks for having me. Excited. I wish we were in person, but we'll do virtual, right? It's how it goes with the world, right? Success loves speed, so we'll make it happen.
Yes, I agree. And I actually just found out I was coming to Utah. I mean, it's hilarious to me how often God just puts me in Utah. I'm there all the time. It's the last time I saw you. We were speaking at an event together out in Utah, which was super fun. We know a lot of the same people. We run in a lot of the same circles, and we just happen to finally overlap this year. So I kind of feel like, and I don't know if this is a compliment, Rob, but I kind of feel like we're the male and female like counterparts of each other.
Hey, I hope it's a compliment. Maybe for other people it's not. For us, it is, right? Just trying to become a little bit better and progress. But I had heard a lot from many different mutual friends, and then we had Tiffany Peterson, and she was just raving about you. And so hopefully we get to speak at the same event sometime or a couple times this next year.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be so fun. I mean, your energy is contagious. I love hearing speakers. I love that environment where it's just speaker after speaker after speaker breathing life into an audience. And that's the environment we were in when we saw each other. Yeah. Your presentation was just, it knocked my socks off. Like meeting you in the green room, and I was like, okay, I get why everybody wanted me to meet Rob. Like, I love him. I love his energy. I love what you're about. But you were really, truly, if anybody in my audience is looking for a keynote speaker, Rob, you're really one of the best I've ever heard. But here for my audience today, will you tell them, if I was to say, who is Rob Sperry? What do you do in the world? How would you answer that?
Oh, that's a great question. So if I want to be like funny and my wife gets mad, I tell them that I am still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
And then she gives me a nudge, because she wants like specifics. But the short abbreviated version, I was a tennis guy, played college tennis, semi-pro tennis. Then I transitioned into running a tennis club, ran a tennis club at age 24. Thought it was the dream job.
Yeah.
Couldn't make any more income, but I'm around people that are a couple billionaires, like two legit, tons of people that are worth over 100 million. It just really just opened my mind to what's possible. So I just picked their brains every day.
Yeah.
And then in 2008, I got involved in network marketing, which is, to me, was hilarious at the time, because growing up in Utah, if you haven't been approached by 5 companies, you don't have friends. So I did that. And, it was actually a skincare company, which is even a little bit more hilarious, because I'm a 28-year-old guy in Utah doing network marketing and skincare. And I'm like, this is like an early midlife crisis or what?
Oh my gosh.
But I had really good mentorship, and I ended up becoming the #1 recruiter out of 1 million distributors, which it sounds opposite of my personality. Cause like when you talk to me in the green room and different things, I'm the most, like, you can't hear what I'm saying half the time because I'm just so chill, so soft-spoken. But I found ways to utilize my personality without becoming a different version of me. Like, every personality has huge strengths and has huge weaknesses. And I just figured out what those strengths were, and great mentorship, and outworked everyone. And then transition years and years and years later through, we don't have time to go through the failures. So everyone listening, don't worry. I could spend like weeks on the failures of like, work 80 hours a week and make less than $400 for the month, and thinking, man, I should go work at McDonald's. I'd make way more money than this gig. And through all of that, and different, fail forward faster, as John Maxwell says. Eventually, it transitioned into me selling my business, and
your network marketing business.
My network marketing business, which I know
that's
is
always
unique.
Interesting to me because I feel like it can be tricky to sell a network marketing business.
Most of the time, you can't. To be honest, even though they say you can, you can't. Usually, the ones that I see go through, it's inside the company.
Right.
So that's without disclosing everything. That's what happened. I'm allowed to at least say that.
Yep.
And the company was great. I ended up facilitating, which sounds big, but it really is just connections, the largest merger in network marketing history. And I merged these companies together.
Wow.
And then after that, sold my position about, 10 months later, a year later. And then it turned into what am I going to be when I grow up?
Yeah.
And living here in Utah and all these connections was like, hey, can you consult? Can you keynote speak? Can you train? Mm-hmm. And then eventually it was like, I had so much exposure to the organizations. Like, well, are you going back and are you building? Because if you are, that's okay, but we'll just have you be a keynote.
Right.
We won't have you consult. And so eventually, I think it was 2016 or 17, I made that commitment to stay generic. And so, so now I've written 13 books. I think 5 are personal books. The rest are I host book collaborations.
Yeah.
Podcast been listened to by 172 countries. And now I just get to do a lot of keynote speaking, consulting for network marketing companies and a lot of door-to-door companies.
Yeah.
Just sales-based and stuff like that. So consulting, training, and then the most fun part is I do these leader masterminds for mainly network marketing, owners, top corporate people, and mainly top leaders. And I just asked my wife where she wants to go. And then we go. So we've done like Dubai, we've done Belize, we've done Bora Bora, we did an African safari. We're going to Banff here in June. And so I say, hey, where do you want to go? That's where the next mastermind is. So that's the fun part of it.
So that's a high level mastermind, obviously, right?
High level, they have to make minimum 6 figures a year to be in that one, to go.
So you're doing the whole coaching, mastermind, speaking, consulting, all those pieces together and just loving it. I
love it. I've learned a lot. And I know that you would tell similar stories without knowing. I had a program where people were paying $27 a month. Within a year, I had 1,200 people doing it. Great income, residual income. I hated it.
Yeah.
So I got rid of it. And everyone thought I was crazy. So
tell me why you hated it. Because I do think a lot of my audience is like, do I go to the membership route? Do I do a course? Do I do a mastermind? And, there's all these different low to high levels. Talk to me about that.
I think everyone thinks, because I love Russell Brunson, one of my favorite. I think everyone thinks they see this ladder and they've got to have the whole ladder and everything there. And I don't think that's true.
Oof, I love that.
I just don't. Why? Like some people crush low ticket. Some people crush high ticket. Some people have a middle ticket. For me, being naturally an introvert, and I like to say naturally because I believe we are whoever we want to be.
Yeah.
It took so much energy for me every week recreating these lives for content that you end up having 1,200 people and then sometimes you have 10 people on the live.
Right.
And I thought, you know what? I have so many different places where I'm creating so much free content. Why don't I focus on if that's something they're not going to value or treat as importantly, and then you have all this customer service and different things.
Yes.
It didn't bring me energy. And so I just thought if it's not something I feel like I could do 3-4 years from now, which it's tough to see much further than that, even though everyone says they want to, I can't at least. I try to, but I can't. Then why not do something that I think, I don't know, that I will be obsessed with and I can create passion and energy because I feel like it will be a better product. Mm-hmm. In the end, I'll have more energy. I'll be happier. I'll make more money. I'll help more people. So I shifted to extremes of mainly just free. Like my Facebook group, the Game of Networking, is the largest generic active group for network marketing. It's got 73,000 people, which most groups are getting. It's crazy active, like crazy.
That's amazing.
6 years I've had a post every day. Free.
Wow.
So between that, like the podcast and all the different pieces of content, I'm free.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's stuff that's very high level.
Yep.
And that's not right for, like you said, for everyone. Everyone's a little different. But I will say this, if you are going to do a membership, there's nothing wrong with that. I have friends that do it and love it.
Yeah.
You got to commit.
Yeah.
You got to commit to 3+ years. Because the friends I've seen that have done it, I look at them and I'm like, wow, like they found a way to make it work and they just never gave up and they didn't deviate. They just slight adjustments always. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud of them. And it's fun to see that they didn't lose that focus.
Yeah. Would you agree with that? Because I think a lot of people, because it's so low ticket, think like, oh, I'll just do this little membership. It's only $27. So I'll kind of plug and play some canned graphics and things like that. And they're not fully owning it as like their baby that they're building. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's why most memberships don't work, right? Like, you got to like go all in on it if you expect it to actually build into something significant.
Yeah, if we go through the highest form of engagement, and you could go through all the different forms of engagement, it's always the element of surprise. There's nothing that's like, you think of like the excitement of like watching, I watched last night March Madness.
Yeah.
You got the finals and it's like, you don't know what's going to happen. And
right.
You've got, when you're trying to find out you're having a kid, is it a boy or a girl? Like you're dating someone, where's it going to go? Like it's that surprise. So, Christmas, what am I going to get? Right. Most people don't remember what they got for Christmas. It's the element of surprise, right? Yeah. That emotion. And so if you're creating a membership, it's very rare. You can have a short-term membership because there's that value that's there, but it's a living organism, right? It's a living environment that is going to need that element of surprise, which is going to be you being intuitive of, something new you learned or a new insight, giving that to them. And so it does take that effort that, like you said, building it and then it's just done. It's maybe there's some rare exceptions, but that's what they are. They're exceptions.
Right. I love this freedom and permission you're giving people right now, because I can certainly look at a lot of the really big names in the kind of business personal growth space and know that they have built like their, extremely successful brand around one offer, whether that's high, mid, low, wherever it falls, and just taking the pressure off of people feeling like they have to have that low, they have to have their free, and then they have to have their low ticket, and then their mid ticket, and then their high ticket. And I don't feel that you can do that many things well. Maybe some people that have giant teams that are helping, run all the things, but I personally, I would feel stretched way too thin to be in that many places, Yeah,
that's a really good insight. And if you look at who do you know that has a really good low, mid, and high ticket, you won't know that many. You're like, oh, wow, they're really, even some of the greats. And then the ones that do, they've done it for so long. They have such massive teams that help them out, as you're saying. And so, 100%, it's niches to riches. If you try to be good at everything, you'll be great at nothing. And so master one thing, like what's your focus. And if you decide after that, you want to add to it, just make sure it never takes away from the focus. It's an add-on as you go. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I made. I remember during COVID, I think I launched like 14 different things. Like it was like every 3 weeks. Didn't we all? It was like quick fix money though. Like it was great money, but it didn't build towards something. So it was like I was starting over every time. Yeah. Exhausting for me, exhausting for my audience. And so now I always just try to think like, whatever I'm launching, is this quick fix money or is this something that's going to feed into the bigger picture? Because otherwise you think you're taking a step forward and you do take 1 or 2 steps forwards, but in the end you take 2 or 3 steps backwards
Yeah.
because you're not building that continuity.
Right. Can I ask you about your mastermind? Is it 12 months, people renewing, staying in it? Because, you're running into the same thing with a mastermind that you are a membership is like,
Yeah.
what keeps people and what does that look like? Because I've done high level masterminds and I've done them a lot of different ways. And for me, it's like I almost need my own element of surprise. I'm always needing to shift it just to keep me super excited about it. But how does yours work and what have you found that works the best?
So there's the destination, which is the leaders, and that's just a one-off. And that's been going on for 6 years. We've done almost 30 of them.
Wow.
What surprised me is, I don't know why, I just thought people would come once, they'd be done. It's almost 90% that if they come once, within 2 years, they come again.
Love that.
And I guess it makes sense now because knowledge is always changing. You want the collaboration, the connections. People are so used to give that sometimes they just high-level leaders want to sit and receive.
Yes.
And so that's a one-off. What I ended up creating was the end of last year, was a 12-month high-end mastermind. And the challenge was, how do I have them work together without taking away right from the event? And so what I did is that's where we have, the typical stuff like group chat. We've got, a couple trainings a month and all of that stuff. And then there's all the little extra things you give them, right? Like so many little things that are huge. Like we'll do 2 virtual events on purpose, but then they get to be featured speakers of it. Virtual events free. It's just exposure for us, but for them. But I made it where they get, if they sign up as just a regular member for this high level, they get half off the destination mastermind.
Oh, wow.
And if they end up doing the high level VIP, which is more hands-on with some personal coaching, then they get 1 free admission to that. So now they're cohesive and they actually help each other out and work out. But like you said, even when I started this, I felt nervous like we always do. And I'm like, I got to perform. And it always starts out great.
Yeah.
And then after that, you don't know if it's you or if it's them or both, but you start thinking like, are they losing interest? Do I have the value? Like the idea of it sometimes feels better than it is. So we had to add. So then I started creating twice a week. We have a member assigned to either give valuable insight or ask a valuable question. So we constantly have a group chat going where it's not a dead group chat. There's real collaboration.
Do you pick that so you pick that person out and say it's your week this week?
Yeah, we have a whole schedule of 3 months in advance of what it is, and set instructions, and the VA will just send it to them and remind them the week before. And then if they don't the day of, just send a reminder, because now they feel like they're all contributing, they're participating, they love it. Then we start out with these, I thought, just killer trainings.
Yeah.
And we're doing them. And then we kept asking for feedback, and I'm like, okay, we got to mix this up. So then I started bringing just insane next level speakers. Like one guy I brought in sold his company for $360 million. Just bringing these different guest speakers of different talents. Then we said, well, why don't we utilize you guys? So tomorrow I helped a business, non-network marketing business, within 4 months of a brand new account, just smash it on TikTok. They're getting, 1+ million views a month. They're doing, they're on pace to do 12,000 on TikTok shop this month. So I share those numbers, and then I got another gal that's smashing it. So now she's going to come on with me, and I'm getting the members now to either do dual training with me or their own solo on their specific, like what's their super talent that they have. So we have that, and then we'll do an in-person once a year for them as well. And then of course, just virtual for those that are unable to attend. So we just constantly are trying to think like, too much of us, not enough. They want more guests. They want this type, like you said, for me and for them, because I'm like, we got to just keep providing like immense value. So now I'm going to interview each one of them individually on my podcast to try to even add more, value and stuff like that. But it's a constant, it's a challenge, and it's a good one.
Yeah. But what I love that you said is and this could go for anybody leading any sales force or team or, gosh, family for that matter, is pulling it up and out of them, right? Like not sitting back, getting frustrated because they're not engaging, they're not conversing, they're not leading. It's like, I just did a leadership training yesterday, and I think one of the principles that I teach is that you actually have to pull them into the ring. You have to pull them into the ring, and then you have to step out of the ring, but you also have to come alongside them and give them the support and the instructions so that they're comfortable in the ring, right? But when you can do that and you can see somebody's confidence come up and they just step into what is possible for them that you see in them that they can't see in themselves yet, that's when that whole dynamic changes, right? And that's when they take ownership of the group, of the setting, and that's a game changer.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. When I started my first leaders in-person mastermind, of course you're nervous and a little insecure, and so I got I swear 30 pages of notes. And I quickly realized, and they just got better and better and better, that my role is what you just explained. Mm-hmm. It's no one wants to go to be a part of a 12-month mastermind or even a full whatever mastermind. For the most part, I know there's rare exceptions, and just hear from one person the entire time.
Right.
You have all these legends and great minds with unique experiences and superstar talents. So I realized that my top job and role is to, like you said, push them forward and pull them into the ring and bring the best out of all of them. Yeah. But I do know at the same time they are paying to have some of my expertise. And so that's probably the hardest dynamic of giving them enough of my expertise, but not too much that it falls on deaf ears, and bringing the best out of everyone. And so that's always my number one challenge, whether it's online or offline, is that delicate dance. And everyone's gonna be a little different. You know, I thought it was a compliment. I did my Kauai one last year, and it's like, I just love how you bring everyone a part of it, but I wish you would have trained a little more. Yeah. Right. And I'm like, okay, like I always ask, and if it's divided, that's good. That's what you want. You know, if it's one extreme where everyone's like a little this or that side, you know, and that's the tough balance for me, is trying to always master that at the best of my ability.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a really tricky balance, because I know that I've looked into joining masterminds where they're super specifically like, you're not coming for me, you're coming for the collective. And I'm like, but I'm really coming for you, you know, so I'm not signing up. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Rob, tell me about what your life looks like. You know, you kind of gave us a peek behind the curtain when I saw you speak on stage. I just feel like it's so dang inspirational. Like your travel, your intention with your kids, how you, I don't even want to say balance family and, you know, work, because I think that's that's not a thing, right? It's cohesiveness. It's like, how do we marry them together? What does that look like for you? Because it's not normal, and I think it's so darn inspirational.
Well, it's always a process. It's always an evaluation. One of the things that I've done is I've given up many of the things I like, and I've doubled and tripled down on the things that I love. And most people don't distinguish the two, right? So I love fulfilling with my talents. I love spending time with my family. I love those things, right? And everything fits into those things. And so for me, I've become more and more deliberate and obsessed with my time. Yeah. At the beginning, you spend your time on anything and everything just to try to make ends meet. And then they teach you the 80-20. But the reality is the most successful human beings are more like 95-5. Yeah. And eventually it's 99-1. I'm not 99-1, but my goal is to get there, probably more 95-5. So I invest in the extremes. I was just out of town for 9 days for kids' tennis tournaments with the whole family, and then we had spring break. And so I knew that before that it was insane, late hours, crazy work. And I knew that when I got back, it was going to be similar for several days to catch back up. Now, even when it sounds like insane, crazy work, I still, part of my service, and it was to help out my kids and be around my kids, is I coach the high school tennis teams. And so that's, that's like, I've got that today, and that will be 2.5 hours. So my break today is 2.5 hours of doing that. So everything I do is investing in those extremes. So we'll do like 7 family vacations a year, right? If I'm traveling for business, I literally am in and I am out right away. It doesn't matter how cool the place is in the world. If my wife's not with me or one of my kids, I want to get back to them as soon as possible. And so that for me is how I look at everything I do for scheduling. Like we're already mapping out, because our second child, she's graduating and she's going to go play tennis at Hawaii Pacific University. So now we're already looking at like all of our kids' like schedules and, fall break and spring break and all of hers, when we're all going out there, when I think mom thinks she's going out there, I swear, every week. Like we still got to be like here,
a little hopeful.
Like when we're going out there, when we're meeting up in California, when she travels there for tennis, like, when the other kids have tennis tournaments, or, when we're just doing family vacations and work stuff and all of that. So we are obsessed with time. Time is the most valuable thing we have on this earth. And we just obsessed with the things that we love. And, you sacrifice a lot of things that you like, but
I was going to say, where are those sacrifices? Because I'm guessing that a lot of people listening to this, I love this conversation. It's like so important to me and how I try to live my life. A lot of people listening would say, well, must be nice, but I can't because. So number one, what do you say to that? But also, what are some of those likes that you're sacrificing?
Yeah, I mean, you may not have the time freedom or money, but it's the same concept and principle to achieve more time freedom and money.
Yeah.
So let's go back to before I had it. I used to love listening to music when I was working out. I switched to listening. I should say I liked listening, but I started listening to things that would help me with my business, personal development, things with my mindset, because I knew it would help me to have more time freedom and more money. So I gave up a like to gain more. Now, some of you are freaking out like, oh, that's too far, Rob. Like, no way. Look, I'm not saying giving up all your likes. Everyone has outlets that they draw energy from. My outlet was I'll work, kids get in bed. And my wife and I, we don't even have a TV in like our main room or anything. We have a theater room, and then we have one in our bedroom. We will watch a show right after everything's done from like 10 to 11 and then go to bed. So that was my outlet of I get to spend time with my wife. We just get to chat, hang out, watch something. And so everyone's going to have their outlet. But that's an example of something that I gave up that was a like, so I could obsess with something that I loved. I used to be, and I still love sports, like love them. But I used to be the person that would watch maybe like 15 hours of sports a week.
Right.
Now, if it's a big game, I'll watch, like last night, I watched the last 5 minutes of the game. That was it. But there was no important kids function or event or date night or anything like that going on. And so now, I'll watch, on a normal week, typically max an hour. I go for end of games or highlights. Of course, there's big games or my favorite sports team or stuff like that. No problem watching the whole thing. But a lot of times it's a family event, or maybe it's something really important to me. But I've just learned to give up some of those things, and those are just examples of being extremely deliberate. So I still do it, but that's what I did to be able to get to where I'm at, and I'm still trying to do better and better at that.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think we all live so unconscious. It's like thinking about those moments that we love, the moments that light us up, the moments where we feel the most fulfilled, the moments where we're just so happy or so content. I think about like, I'm so clear on what mine are. It's like being at an event, speaking on stage, watching my son play baseball, watching my daughter play volleyball. Like there are moments that I can freeze frame that I'm like, it doesn't get any better than that. And then a lot of times we're aware of that, but we're not conscious of the fact that like, then go create more of that. Like you can create more of that and crowd out some of this other stuff that's just like the mundane or the ho-hum, or even like you're saying, you like it, but you don't love it. We have the creative freedom and the agency to create more of those magic moments that just fill us up to no end. And so we gotta go do that, but we also have to be conscious. So how would you tell people what we're talking about here? Where do people start? Like, is it, sheet of paper? I mean, I always say like, draw a line down the center and be like, I don't like this and I like this. I don't love it like this. I love this. We're not even that conscious of the moments, right? So what would you advise for people?
Yeah. So if you remember from my keynote, my main through line of it was die with memories, not dreams.
Yes.
And that was the last like personal book that I wrote. And it's not network marketing, it's for all industries. And that one was the one I was most excited, most nervous, right? It was just like more personal type book. And in that, I'll go through like really in-depth things to do and things that I've done. But exactly what you said, I'll do it at masterminds and have people do two things. There's one thing where you list likes and do not likes. Mm-hmm. And then there's a list of likes versus loves. Mm. And so two different lists. And then the more success that you have, the more you look at this simple phrase of millionaires don't ask, can I do it? They ask, who can do it? And if someone can do it 80% as well as you outsource it. Now I get some of you like, well, I'm not a millionaire. That's okay. There's still certain things that you can figure out, what's your average? What's your average, per hour that you're making? And you just have to make sure you actually treat it that way. And so if it's like it's going to take you 2 hours to do yard work and maybe you draw energy from that and that's your outlet, do it. But maybe you just hate it. Great. If you hire someone to do it for 2 hours, how much does that cost? But then if you're working on your business, how much can you actually make during that? What's your current hourly? And then if you actually have continuity going with it. And so you could start out with even very, very little things as you just become obsessed with times. And then the last thing, this may be, I don't know, I'm kind of burnt out on books, but if I did a personal book, this is one of my ideas is I like the psychology of focusing on win streaks because, I've got a friend that, he was overweight for years and years and years, hated the gym. And all I said is go to the gym twice a week, 15 minutes. He's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, can you just commit to that? He said, yes. Yeah. Starts YouTubing, asking questions. Next thing you know, right, he's working out a little bit longer, more days. But I said, just 2 days a week, 15 minutes. Eventually, it leads up to more and more and more. He runs half marathons, full marathon, triathlon. Now he's looking doing the Grand Canyon. This is like 12 years later. Wow. Best shape of his life. And it was because all too often we start out with the huge goals because we're dreamers. There's nothing wrong with that as well. But I'm a big believer in show me your minimums. I'll show your future. Show me your habits. I'll show your future. So go to the guy, like my buddy Lance, that couldn't work out. And even if he only stuck to that minimum, ask him 4 months later, the guy that hates the gym, allergic to the gym, never works out of the gym, and you say, do you work out? His instant response is yes. That's an identity change, an identity shift. So in order to have true change, you need to shift your identity. No one knows how to shift their identity. How you shift your identity is you create the stupidest, smallest, lowest goal that you can create a win streak. So I've gone 16 years where I haven't missed an entire week of working out. 16 years I haven't missed a day of personal development. It's just do it. My goal is an hour. My minimum is just do it. I've gone like 12 years now of not missing some sort of spiritual reading. 16 years of not missing a day of saying prayers, right? Now, sometimes my prayers suck. I know the man upstairs is like, Rob, bring me more. But my point is, it's no longer a goal anymore.
Right.
It's an identity. It's who I am. So
Yes.
I've got now the app called Streaks. It's like this orange little app, like $5. I create new minimums. And so now I think I've gone 400 days of not missing a day of stretching. That was something I wanted to just as I'm getting older, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm still young, depends on who, but is listening. But I'm like, so I added like 6 different things just that I wanted to add. And so some of them are only like 40 days. Some of them are like 100 days. Some of them are 400 days. Because again, show me your minimums, I'll show you your future.
I love that. Streaks is what it's called, the app.
Streaks, yeah.
Streaks.
It's this orange app, this little S and a little circle. And so I add it all the time. So I do it now for sugar. Like I went 21 or 22 days and then I planned on eating it when I went on this trip. I did for 4 or 5 days. And now I'm 3 straight days without it. So it's like, I go
How's your headache?
It was fun the first day.
That's amazing, though. That is absolutely amazing. I need to jump on that sugar one, too, maybe after spring break. Ours is next week. Gosh, show me your minimums. I'll show you your future. Show me your habits. I'll show you your future. It's so true. It's so true. And the psychology of the small versus the big, right? I mean, we think we have to change everything when we have to change the littlest, tiniest thing. So good. So I heard you say earlier you take 7 family vacations a year. That's crazy. But really, I just love the radical picture it paints because some people are taking 7 family vacations in their kids' lifetime, right?
Yeah.
And the intention, I think, is so important as well. I'm guessing you do kind of what I do. There are some times where it's like, you pick up the kids from their sport and everybody's got to eat. And it can just be, you're feeding your children, what we all do every single night versus, hey, we're going on a date night. It might just be me and my son. We're going to have to eat regardless. We are going to eat regardless. But when I set the intention of saying at 3:00, texting him, hey, just you and me tonight, let's go out on a date night. Everything changes, right? The whole vibe, the energy, the conversation. When people look at me and say like, gosh, you're so intentional with your children. I'm like, but it's not as hard as you think. I love to go on a trip with my kids once a year and do things like that, but it doesn't have to be a trip around the world. It can be instead of, picking up Mexican and you eating in 2 separate rooms and you're both on your phones, you just say, hey, we're going to have a date night. And it just looks and feels different. So what are your thoughts around just those slight shifts with intention?
Yeah. And I know people are going to listen. Well, I don't have the money or the time. Like, again, everything starts somewhere with intention. And so if that's just a specific, local day that you do and you call it your little day trip, staycation, great, do that. But it's being intentional and deliberate with your time of being 100%, present and planning something. Cause there is a difference between planning a real date night with your significant other rather than just always just hanging out. Our goal is we do date night every single week when I'm in town, no matter what. And if I'm leaving town, we'll do it on a weekday and our kids make fun of us. They're like, you just do like 2-3 date nights. It feels like a week. Like we're going on a date night tomorrow night, right? Because I'm leaving out of town again for one of the kids' tennis tournaments this weekend. And my wife's going on a girls trip this weekend. So it's like, we're doing date night tomorrow night. So the biggest thing, like you said, is both those words, deliberate and intentional. And as you do that, I promise the most important thing are really the relationships and memories that you create. No one, and it's not that the other things aren't fun. It's great. You can have a fun car, you can have a fun possession, whatever you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But understand, like, you're not going to die and be grateful for the watch or the $300,000 car. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. They're fun, but all you're going to think about are those memories. And if you can have that perspective now, it can help you to understand that here's your real goal. You want to become a time billionaire.
Yes.
You want to become memory rich.
Yes.
That's my whole point. I want to make as much money as possible, but for what purpose? And I have enough, right, where I'm not going to sacrifice a lot of memories for more money.
Right.
Right now, again, it's a formula. Everyone's different what that formula is and at what point and where they're at. You know, I understand all that. There's a lot of dynamics and different styles, personalities, and opinions. But you have to figure out what's that enough number for you? What do you really want? Because otherwise you're going to become, I'm going to give an example. I don't know him personally. From the outside looking in, seems like a fun guy, Kevin Hart, bragging about being on the road like 80, 90 days in a row for comedy tour and movies. I'm like, dude, you're making like $100 million a year.
Right.
For what? It's the Moore syndrome. It never ends.
Yeah.
More. For what? Like,
what's the point?
I don't get it. But teach their own. That just feels like external validation that will never end.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to starting to identify your loves, right? Like, and I think you and I are probably, I don't know if you would agree with me, but when your kids get to high school, whew, I mean, there's a perspective shift that just hits you like a ton of bricks. And knowing that my absolute love is watching my kids play sports, knowing that window is going to close, whether it could be high school or college. I'm so clear on the fact that 10, 20 years from now, like we can all go, gosh, I would give anything to go back and like just have an hour with my toddler and like squeeze those chubby cheeks and like just see them that way. But it is so clear to me that 20 years from now, I would give anything to see one more game to sit in those stands. It's gonna make me cry. And so it aligns my actions. It aligns my work hours. It aligns my time. You know, when somebody says, hey, can you fly out and speak? Nope, it's baseball season. You know, it's like, yeah. I can do it at another time in the year. And so you start to kind of move the chess pieces around, right? Like I can do that then, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to invest this time here. And that's how you don't end up with so many regrets like so many people do. It starts with identifying the loves.
You're just so clear on knowing. Like, yeah. You can tell, like, listening to your emotion. Like, I just turned down this huge speaking gig in India. It's during my daughter's state. Like, it's literally as crazy as it sounds or doesn't. It doesn't matter how much they offer. There was another one that was to go on to Alaska. And an Alaskan cruise. The problem is it's an entire week.
Yeah.
And my daughter has 2 months of high school tennis, really.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's different. I had to evaluate and I had to say no. Now, if it were, you know, I felt like this would help create more memories and maybe it's worth missing, you know, I'm fine. I've done that before. So don't misinterpret. If it's like, I got to miss this, but it brings in more of memories and this and this. I do that sometimes, but it's always that evaluation.
Yes.
Of we both know what we want and what happiness and success is to us.
Yeah.
And that's so important for everybody to figure out what that is so they don't get caught up in the Moore syndrome.
Yeah. And I think you and I would both agree, too, that there were extremely long seasons of sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like insane sacrifice. But I was really sacrificing a lot of the likes. I was sacrificing a lot of even the like monotony, right? Like I'm sacrificing. We just feel like, especially I think as moms, this mom guilt and this mom obligation to be there for everything. I'm like, I don't need to be there for everything. I'm going to go build some financial freedom. Yeah. So when you are teenagers, I can be anywhere you need me to be anytime, you know, and so there is a season of sacrifice. We're not saying you don't sacrifice, right? But you're sacrificing the right things. I mean, I will sacrifice my own sleep and fly home on a red eye because I want to be home for my kids for whatever's happening on Saturday. You know, so there's a lot of sacrifice and a lot of pain sometimes, but it got me to the part that I love, that I'm not going to miss.
Yep. It's just learning what the value is for sacrifice. Both of us have made stupid sacrifices without knowing. I know there are massive mistakes I made of things I missed that were really important young on with my kids because I was doing it for them. But it was like, I look back and some of those were worth it and smart and some of those were stupid.
Absolutely.
And as I've gotten older, I've learned how to better evaluate, right? Sometimes you still never know until later, but I've gotten a lot better at evaluating sacrifice. I'll still make sacrifices, right? Like I'm willing to make any sacrifice I need to make. It's just I'm better at evaluating.
Yeah, I love this so much. Oh my gosh, what a good conversation, Rob. I love it. I love it. I love it. Tell my listeners where they can find you, where they can find the mastermind information, the book information, just everything.
Yeah, so books on Amazon, any of the books, I would say Die with Memories, Not Just Dreams. Best one, the one I'm most passionate about, most recent one. You can find me, just my name, Rob Sperry. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram. And then for the masterminds, we just don't really publish the links. We just make sure that people are 6-7 figure earners, but you can always just reach out to me personally and say, hey, I listened, like I'm interested in the mastermind. I'm a 6+ figure earner, and we'll just send you a simple application and all the good stuff from there. But
awesome.
It's a pleasure. I know we align on so much. So these deeper conversations for me, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I agree so much. We didn't even get to like all the amazing work that you do pouring into teens and your heart for that, my heart for that. I know that's something we connect on big time. Rob, thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for just doing all this amazing work in the world and just leading the way you lead. You're changing so many lives and the world is absolutely better for it.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You guys, thanks so much for joining. Share this episode with a friend. Tag Rob if you're on Instagram, tag me. We'd love to hear back from you, and we will see you next week.